Yeah, you know, it's interesting because it's like the mindset that you had to get in to play that role, right? Because your character, while mischievous at first, is still more innocent than the adult version. So how did you get he later turns basically because of prison and everything, you know? So how did you get
Correct.
into that mindset to play that character?
Watching him because, like I said, they the first 2 weeks of filming was them, the older guys. We actually had to go to Folsom Prison, the three young guys, and watch them. Plus, watch film if we didn't go. That came in from while they were up north and we were in LA. All the film that would come in that day to Universal, we would have a screening room just for us, and we would all sit there and take notes. More me than the other two guys because the character was more prevalent. But it was all, aside from the fact also that we had to deal with all the crazy shit that was going on in the gang world at the time. You know, we had all them drive-bys. They called the truce between two different gangs up in East Los and Boyle Heights and over with Bell Gardens. I mean, not Bell Gardens. I'm sorry, where Hazard is. You know, and we had those guys working. So you know, there's a lot of tension. So that made it a little tougher, and it kind of helped me because when you were a kid back in the '60s, apparently the tension was bad because of the racial shit. I mean, racism exists to this day, but back then, especially with the with the Latinos in LA, the Chicanos and the Pachucos, because remember his character derives from the Pachucos, you know his dad and the Zoot Suiters and shit. So the tension there was that. So we had the tension with the gangs going on, and just the fact that we're shooting a movie about a real life entity, so to speak. It made it a little more challenging. And it made it better for me because I concentrated on, yeah, in between. I'm not a method actor. I'm not one of those guys that fucking gets in the character and stays in that shit like this 24. Fuck that. I don't believe in that. Not that it's bad, but that's not me. I'll get into my character. Now, you right now, we're doing this shit. You'll say, okay, Panchito, action. I said, right before you say action, you get 3 or 4 seconds. I walk in circles. I've always done this I don't know why, since I was a kid. And when I walk in circles like this, 3 or 4 seconds, not on my mark, and I know where my mark is, and when they say, can't roll it. Actually, I walk back at that point. Now I'm in that character. I just
Mm.
need that first 4 or 5 seconds. Just like we could be joking right now, right before the scene. Something happened, we're cracking up, and that's all right. Cool. That's my little moment. Those 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, I walk the circle, and people look at me all the time and say, "This motherfucker's crazy." Well, I shadow box. Start box. Get in that, and my little man, bam. Then I'm good. Fuck everything, block everything up, and I'm that person right there. Whether it was that, and Mi Vida Loca was the same thing. Mi Vida Loca was just as crazy. The fact that with Mi Vida Loca, it was a whole different crowd. It was a bunch of youngsters, and we shot in Echo Park too. And there was a gang, a little split between two rival gangs, and we were shooting one neighborhood that we could, if we went, like if there's a little store here, the next store over belonged to that other crew. So we had to be careful where we were shooting. Same type of thing there. And mind you, I was a lot older then, and I dealt with a bunch of these young cats who were all real gangsters too that were in the movie. And it's the mindset. You put yourself in a position, and everybody's cool and shit. And you start fucking with everybody, but then there's a time where your job that has to get done. Your job has to
Right.
get done. And I told a lot of it has her as well. The older guys, older than me, the veteranos like they call them, and then the young kids in Ecuador. I said, look, this is you guys want to, this is a way out for you motherfuckers. Whether you like it or not, but you're in this movie and you obviously like it do. So watch what people do. Learn. Once they say action, once the camera's rolling, fuck all your outside shit. Be that person. You know, whether it's natural or not. So I'm not a teacher, but if there's any way I can help anybody and school them and not school them in the sense that I'm better than anybody because I'm not. I'm gonna give you advice. If you want to follow it, that's on you. If not, then fuck you. That's all your own. You know.
So what was it like to film in the prison and be surrounded by like real killers? Was that intimidating?
Well, I didn't do it was very intimidating. I didn't do the prison stuff, the big prison stuff, but I did the prison stuff, juvenile hall, which was just as bad. Now, you
Mm.
gotta remember, juvenile hall is a breeding ground. It's a training camp. It's boot camp for these young kids, whether you're in the Black Gorilla family, the Aryan Brothers, the Mexican Mafia, Mr. Familia, MS-13, Latin Kings, whatever the fuck it is. When you're in juvenile hall, you're a soldier. You're an up and coming soldier. So these little motherfuckers, and I use that term, just I was using it. Don't mean it that way. 12, 13 years old. Yo, there were kids that were like 12, 13 years old that fucking had two, three murders. They didn't go fuck. They were kids, but they were fucking murders, burglars, dope fiends. So they were just as bad as the older guys. Junior Hall was a little. I mean, being an adult, it was still a little fucking weary, because prison life is prison life. They have their own ways. They have their own laws. They have their own ways of doing things, and it was tough. We were all protected, but still, you gotta have five eyes. Even though they're kids, don't fucking underestimate these little motherfuckers. Same thing with the older guys. When we went to visit, yeah, when we went up to Folsom Prison to visit the old guys, that shit was scary. But you talking about lifers, you know? But these little
People
guys,
with
they don't
like
give a
nothing
shit.
to lose, basically.
They got nothing to lose. They ain't live forever. So what the fuck? It don't matter if I fucking butt fuck you or stab you. I'm still in here and I ain't going out. So let me have my fun while I'm here. That type of shit,